Hey everybody, welcome to another review. Today it's Free Comic Book Day. Haha, because it says here. This is the new 52 Futures End Issues 0 Special Edition. Basically, this is a free comic, but it wasn't free for me, unfortunately. So this whole saga is about 48 issues, excluding this one. I got the whole package, and this is the first one I read. So yeah, I'm going in also blind. I read bits and pieces, from different parts, from storylines, from different comics, like in Superman or in other DC titles that I'm forgetting right now completely. Also, I don't really like this here. This is a sore thumb in my eye, if you can call it that. It really annoys me to look at the, this white blank, and it's just, hey, it's free, but we have this big of a square. Why not make it like this and put it here instead of, blocking everything? Anyway, enough ranting. Let's dive in. So what is this all about? Well, it seems that Brother Eye, 35 years in the future, has, this is in the future, but it seems that Brother Eye, invented by Batman and what's the other guy? He is also an inventor. Fair Play is this guy, Michael Holt or something. He is Mr. Terrific. Yes, that's the one. They built the whole thing, I guess, in the past, and now Brother Eye is taking over. By the way, this is the art of Ivan van Sciver, and there's different artists in this as well. So this is more like an introduction about what's going to happen and what's going on. So we see here the Flash, we see Captain Cold, and it seems that they are under siege by none other than, every human being and hero on the world, because somehow Brother Eye did a Borg thing, and if you don't know what a Borg is, it's a Star Trek reference. They use their technology to infect people, and they become robots, androids, cyborgs, or whatever you call it. And so as you can see here, this guy is getting, impaled by Wonder Woman, I guess, or Robo Woman, or Brother Eye Woman. And she says, "I seat planted." And he is turning, and also we see here Captain Cold gets his hands cut off, and he's turning as well, and then Flash is going crazy and, destroys every robot there is. Well, not entirely, because we have, Frankenstein. Frankenstein is also part of the Brother Eye Club, and he has Diana, Canary, and now he's dead because he's using a vocal scream. There's a lot of, the reason why I'm doing, before we go in, the reason that I'm doing a lot of DC Comics is more my brand because it feels more quote-unquote mature when it comes to storyline telling and storytelling, and storylines and art and I don't know, it's darker, and darker is not always better, but I just like the darker theme in general. Instead of the cookie cutter Marvel storylines that I don't know, it just feels for little kids now. But that's me. So I always go back to DC Comics. It's not that I hate Marvel. Well, I hate new Marvel, current Marvel. I don't hate Marvel, from the 90s, because there's actually good storylines to tell. And that's great. Anyway, we see here Green Lantern, who is also older. And I always forget who this Blue Beetle guy is. But it doesn't really matter. I believe he's Hispanic or Mexican. And he's actually a great character, I heard. I don't know him personally, so I'll leave it to that. They are more like a diversion, but, Blue Beetle is getting taken over instantly. He's been taken out real quick. And then we have... I want to say Cyborg Superman, but it's almost appropriate. Cyborg Superman, who is, there's a whole storyline about that, but now Superman himself is, I don't know, dismantled, eviscerated, cut open, and turned into a cyborg. And then Jon Stewart here is turning as well. And he says, no! And then Cyborg Superman is looking without any emotion. So the diversion is more like they need to, how do you say, disconnect Firestorm or free Firestorm so that he can, use his powers to, how do you say, disconnect Brother Eye, and then, and because Brother Eye has a satellite and he's controlling the heroes. But as you can see, everything is go wrong and they're getting destroyed as well. I mean, this is Grifter and the woman called Amethyst or something. I have books from her. I haven't read it, so I need to get into that as well. I don't know much of the character. Then we skip to Wayne Manor when Brother Eyes try to get in the lair in the cave of Batman. Well, Batman is doing his Batman thing. We have Terry McGinnis, and Terry McGinnis is the new future Batman. In the beginning, I hesitate because I wasn't, into, replacing heroes, but since it was in the future, and I also watched the cartoons, and it was pretty good at the time, and I became a fan is a big word, but I really like this character now. And I mean, he's not Bruce Wayne, but Bruce Wayne is his mentor, and I like that Bruce, mentoring it's basically Robin, but then in the future, if you can. Yeah, I think so. By the way, this sucks. So I just really hate the costume. Anyway, moving on. So it seems that Batman or Bruce wants to, doing time travel stuff, sending Terry back before it all began with Brother Eye, and then they need to divert or reroute power from the shields to the teleporter, if you will, or the gateway to the future. And I believe he's using, and you can say, what is the technology that he uses to time travel? Well, it doesn't really get explained, but since DC Comics is pretty advanced when it comes to science, and maybe he just uses Justice League satellite technology, guessing, not sure. I mean, I don't think Bruce can invent time travel. He's smart, he's a detective, but he's not genius level to actually do that. But maybe in here, now that he's older, he can, or he borrows technology. Well, it doesn't really matter, but I was just curious how that all works. Anyway, villains break in, or heroes, or a mix, and then they are attacking the Batman, or both Batmans, if you will. But then when the battle rages on, Bruce is getting mortally wounded. He's getting his heart cut off, and he's down. And then he says to Terry while he's lying down, well, because Terry's now pretty mad and fucks everybody up now, if I can say the word fuck. Anyway, so he says to Bruce, hang on. And he says, with what, Terry? Well, that's actually true. With what? He doesn't have any arm and he can do nothing, just bleed out or so, I guess. So he gives him the thingamajig to go to the past, and he says to Terry, Terry says to Batman, I'm not trained for time travel, Bruce. You are trained by me, understood? For me, that was a very powerful line. I mean, we all recognize and know that if you train on the Batman, you will become a badass. You become a kick-ass, one of probably the best fighters there is, and Batman is one of the best fighters there is, if not the best. Well, probably one of the best. And she says, stop hell from reaching Earth. And Terry, whatever you do, don't contact me in the past. And he says, why? Because not only I won't believe your story, I will stop you. That's intriguing. So I'm very curious how that's going to go. But I believe it's going to go like that. I mean, it's a DC comic after all. So they say goodbye to each other. Well, sort of. Well, not really. He says, I'll get it done, Bruce. And he says, I know. Or you might be vaporized. This is not why I live my life, to die like this. And then he's getting surrounded by these cyborgs. And then he goes, teleports very coolly into the past, and he has this creature, cyborg robot thing with him, and he says, Alfred. And I've always forgot that Alfred was not a real but a digital version of the butler that he can interact with, but he still has a connection with it. And then he realizes there is a mistake when going back. He realizes that he's not in the past. He is way past the fact that it all happened. He says, you have traveled to the past to prevent. What you've traveled to the past to prevent is already in play. And it brings us to the end of the book. So it says here, we seem to have missed the target date. And it goes into issue number 1. I have that as well. I'm going to review it soon. So guys, let me know what you think of this. Did you read it? Is it good? I don't know. We'll see. Subscribe to my channel if you will. Like my video. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.